Hi, this is Gogo, and today I want to talk about the power of mining your hidden gold. And this is probably the most important foundational course that you will be exposed to. I know that some of you who attended our last seminar really were expecting to hear about very tactical types of information, how to build a website, maybe services to use, and things like that. Now, I have made available some other resources to take care of those needs and those questions. But this presentation is really about you finding out how to mine your experience, how to mine your wealth, how to find the areas of opportunity that are going to be the highest leverage for you because they are uniquely yours, because nobody else can do you as good as you do you. All right, so this is mining your hidden gold, and the very first concept that I want to share with you is what I call the wealth capital matrix. If you're listening to this today, you need to realize that you were a winner before you were born. The scientists have told us and have given us evidence that each one of us that is born essentially was one out of 300,000 to 400,000 candidates to be born. All right, so the very first day you were born, you were a lottery winner. Not only that, every human on earth who is born with at least one servant who is available to render to them services worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars. And most people call these servants mom, dad, father, mother, but these were servants. Now, I believe that these this wealth that you have, is really the love of God expressed. And I group it into what I call spiritual capital. Now, spiritual capital has to do with all those things that through no power of your own you have access to. The love of God, for me as a Christian, I believe that the love of God is one of those things, and that the first expression of the love of God is that I was born, because my parents didn't have to let me come into this world. Um, and just not only that, but the particular traits that I have. If you look at many of our today's wealthy, if you look at somebody like Oprah Winfrey, for instance, have you ever asked yourself how come Oprah is so wealthy? Is it because she has a talk show? I mean, millions, billions of people know how to talk. So what's the difference? Well, if you examine the story of Oprah very carefully, you'll find out that she was one of the few people, the first people who shared with people, who ministered to people, not out of her strength, but out of her weakness. She was known for her empathy. The reason why she no longer could be, she started out as a reporter, but she kept crying with the people who were crying. So she had to be moved away from that responsibility. Now, she was one of the first people to come out and talk about her abuse and about her life and her difficulties. And she had the strength of character to bring that up at a time when nobody was doing that. That's your spiritual capital. Your spiritual capital is your vision, your initiative, your confidence, your faith, your love characteristics. Those things, those reasons why human beings will come to you in the day of uncertainty. There is a great value to that. And there are many other, your culture. And if you're the CEO of an organization, your spiritual capital of your organization is the codification of your culture, the things that are unique to your organization, the ideas, the mission, the things that you accept as true and that you fight for as an organization. Well, so spiritual capital is the first part of your wealth matrix, and spiritual capital is most often translated immediately into social capital. Social capital is your wealth that is embedded in the relationships that you have with other people. Your first evidence of social capital is your parents. Your parents who give you so much in value, the family members, just and sometimes honestly strangers who saw you as a little tyke and rendered you millions of dollars worth of services just because they could. So social capital is that's kind of the core basics. It goes beyond that. It goes deeper. It goes into your Rolodex. It goes into your contacts. Websites like LinkedIn, all the networking groups, the referral groups, everything that you do that has to do with networking is really acknowledging the reality of the wealth that is embedded in social capital. There's that saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. That statement is very true. And so social capital is also a part of your wealth that you already have. Everybody knows somebody. If you're listening to this presentation, you know somebody who could help you create a solution for others. All right, and then the next thing I want to talk about is intellectual capital. Intellectual capital is the knowledge that you have and just the things that you know how to do, the areas that you have special experience or special expertise in. Intellectual capital, anything from the books that are in you waiting to be written, from the speeches in you that are waiting to be said, to the inventions or products or businesses, all the things that you know that could bring value to you and to others falls under your intellectual capital. So a bit later, in a few minutes, we will go a little bit deeper. I'll give you some tools to help you mine your intellectual capital because a lot of people I've coached in the past, when I brought up this whole issue of intellectual capital, often people don't realize just how much wealth they are sitting on, just how much they have gotten to know. So we're going to use a very special proprietary technique that I use with my coaching and consulting clients to help you really extract the value, the most value out of your intellectual capital. Now, the point of this wealth capital matrix is that if you access and mobilize your spiritual capital, your social capital, your intellectual capital, there are exact steps through which you can convert those three into financial capital.